Peace, bro. This is your boy Mikey Fever, alongside my host.
Ron Brown, LMT, and this is a
Yes,
New Yorker's Perspective NYP Talk Show, ninth, ninth episode, and we
yeah.
have the brother, the Moorish brother, Sharif Bey here. Uh,
Welcome.
welcome.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for this interview, brother. This is a much,
Absolutely.
much needed interview. We going in. Let's do this now. All right, now first off, I just want to say I'm gonna start off like this.
Yes, sir.
You know what? I'm getting excited. Let me bring it down a notch. Let's introduce you. Can you explain who you are, your name, and what do you do?
Absolutely. My name is Sharif Anael Bey. First and foremost, I'm your brother, right? I'm the Grand Sheik of a local temple for the Moorish Science Temple of America, incorporated under the leadership of Brother R. Jones Bey. And that temple's in upstate, Syracuse, New York. So that's branch temple number 11. I also serve the organization as the National Press Secretary for the Moorish Science Temple of America. Yes, sir.
All right, and you're also a martial artist.
For
Uh,
sure.
right. So let's talk about that as well.
Yeah, lifelong martial artist, man. It was came to live with my father. I was born out west. I was born in Long Beach, California. Came to live with my father in New York, age 4. He took me to see a martial arts demonstration in the Bronx, and it was over, right? And so it kind of chose me. So by age 5, my birthday, he bought me lessons, and that was it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And that was in the Bronx under what instructor?
Oh man. Ooh, hold
Was it
on.
karate?
No, it was Taekwondo, and it was Bernie Milton. That was his name.
Okay.
Bernie Milton. Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah.
So I don't. I'm not familiar with that name.
Right.
That
Right.
probably was a minute ago. But
Yeah.
all right. So Bernie Milton, Taekwondo. You started off with Taekwondo, and
Yes.
how did you get into Kung Fu?
Oh wow. I got into Kung Fu. Of course, we grew up Channel 5. You know what I'm saying? And so the particular style that I do literally found me, right? Of course, and plus we grew up, post Bruce Lee era. So Bruce Lee was like the god to us. So I found out through just reading magazines or whatever when I was very young. Bruce Lee's first style was a style of Kung Fu called Wing Chun. So O'Hara Publications had a book on Wing Chun written by one of his friends and students, James Jim Lee. So I put my pennies together, wrote them a long letter like they really cared, right? Boom, sent my money off to get the book. And about a month later, I get a package. There's a letter. It's an apology letter saying the book is back ordered. So they're going to get it to me. But in the meantime, take this free book. And it was a book on the style called Hong Ga Kung Fu. I'm like, man, I don't want this. It's not what I ordered, right? But right around that time is when you see Gordon Liu, Lau Kar-leung, Master Killer, all these, right? Return to the 36 Chamber. And what style are they doing? Hong Ga Kung Fu. So I'm going, right? And so a number of years later, I run into a friend of mine who was learning unofficially from another Kung Fu master, Hong Ga Kung Fu master. And then finally, I end up meeting my Sifu. Back in the days, he had a spot in Chinatown on 145 Grand Street. And that's Grandmaster Frank Yi Chi Wai. He's Hong Ga International Kung Fu Association. And I've met him, 89? I've been with him ever since.
Got you.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
So and now, what would be your rank in Kung Fu right now?
Well, Kung Fu is not really a style. It's a slang word for any martial arts style that comes out of China. So there's hundreds of them. So the Tai Chi is a Kung Fu style, Wing Chun, Choi Lei Fut, there's so many in our particular system. And also, too, in Chinese martial arts, there's no standardized rank because there's so many different styles. You see how that goes? It was the karate styles when they came west that you started to see standardization.
Right.
But my rank in our association is the equivalent to seventh degree black belt.
That's peace. That's peace. And you have
Yes,
your own school.
yes,
Right?
sir. I run the school full time. I run the Upstate New York headquarters for the association. Association worldwide, we have about nearly 30 branches worldwide. We're in a number of countries in Europe. We're in South America, in Argentina, Brazil, course, China, plus here in the States.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever competed in any national league?
Yes, sir. We don't do a ton of competition. We're, pretty traditional school, but, this is an old feudal era. So, how you get to express yourself, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a big competition that we go to once a year in Baltimore, Maryland. And it's the highlight of it is full contact fighting. So I have a full contact team, but the type of fighting is punch, kick, knees, elbows, throws, no ground fighting, but it's done on a platform 3 feet high off the ground and no ropes. So extra points for punch, kick, or throwing somebody off the platform. It's called Lei Tai Sanda. That's the name of it.
That's dope.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All
My
right.
very first world champion was a female. I trained her for only 4 years. I started her at age 16. Her father brought it to me. Age 20, she competed the first time, made the U.S. team. We sent her to Argentina for the world. She took the gold.
Mm.
Mm.
Nice.
Right now, I got 3. I got 3 world champions right now.
Nice.
So I'm talking to the 2 dangerous men at the moment. Run like that. They're both.
Oh yeah, I already know.
I don't know anything, bro. I'm just
Ron's a beast, man. Like, let's.
regular guy.
Ron's a beast. Yeah. I don't know if he's familiar with. I've seen him. I'm telling you, he's a beast, man.
Yes, I know.
Now,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about Syracuse.
Yes, sir.
Growing up in Syracuse, and what are what's the culture of Syracuse?
Well, I didn't really grow up here. I mean, I came here as a young adult, for college. That's how I ended up here. And Syracuse is interesting. It's, of course, nowhere near as diverse as back home. New York is an international city. But what's interesting is, in New York City, the 90s were like the gladiator era, right? It came here late. You know what I'm saying? It came here late. So a lot of us that were here here in Syracuse in the 90s were like, woo, made it. Then we start seeing that same element, like, whoa, like Syracuse, Rochester, New York is bang, bang, shoot 'em up. Like it's Buffalo, New York. It's kind of wild, and it's not getting better. It's really not getting better. Racism here, is a little more subtle, but definitely more solid. And what I mean by that is that, there's like invisible walls set in place to where you just, unless you really know what you're doing and are really aware of what it is you're really up against and dealing with, it's a glass ceiling for you. Yes.
You said Syracuse, right? I have purchased a book from a Moorish brother up there in Syracuse. I think Khalil Bey. He had that book, Keys to Character.
Let me tell you something. Salute to my brother, man. Like that's my brother. You hear me? We go back. Like he was he was the rising star in local politics.
Yeah, I remember that.
In Syracuse, New York. So imagine people that think like us. But also know that, but also know the political game, but know the political game and would play it like we would play it. Made it dangerous in a positive way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In a positive way, made it dangerous. Like I remember we were working on this campaign, of course. The day he got elected, officially, it was like official. We had breakfast that next morning. He was like, "Yo, this is like crushing ants with sledgehammer, Sharif." I said, "What you mean?" He said, yo, you know that a city councilman in this town, in this city, could subpoena anybody, including the chief of police. I said, say word. I said, how you know that? He said, how you think I know? Take a guess. I said, you read the city charter. He said, yeah. He said, but guess what? I said, none of the other councilmen know that because they ain't read it.
Exactly, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
How's that, brother? He's good. He's still writing?
Oh, he definitely still writing. He's had his fill of politics though. Like we ran for mayor, and in doing, sometimes you know how it is, how you know you don't lose, you learn, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to go through something so others can see it. And now remember what we said about the whole racism thing up here?
Yeah.
And I ain't scared to say it. It's just is what it is. So this city is serially democratic. If you're not on the Democrat ticket, you're not winning. Now in the county is different, but in the city, that's just what it is. Overwhelmingly so. He ran on the Democratic ticket.
Okay.
It gets better. The Democrats ran somebody against another. Now the incumbent mayor is independent.
Okay.
Independent. All right. So they ran a primary, and the Democratic Party backed a European, European.
Yeah.
We beat him. We beat him in the primary. So now, as a general, so you would think that the party would be behind their guy. Man, we lost the election so bad. Number-wise, the only way we could have lost, the only way we lost is that the actual Democrats, registered Democrats, voted for the independent.
Of course, yeah. It's politics, yeah.
In other bottom line, it wasn't ready for a brown-skinned mayor.
Right, basically.
Yeah.
Regardless. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just wasn't ready for it. But it wasn't just that. It wasn't he chaired economic development for 10 years for the whole city. Okay. Now, he has a 10-year reputation of making the powers that be share the wealth. So with the Biden administration, we had the COVID fund, funds, relief funds. We have the 81. There's Interstate 81 that's is getting torn down. So we have that money coming through, and other monies. It was the biggest federal check that the city had seen in a long time. Wow. They were basically like, "Look, Khalil, we love you, but not this year." Yeah. You're gonna make a spread share the wealth? Nah, not this year.
Yeah. Not the economic portion. Yeah, right. I got you.
Right.
Well, I want to move on to the next question.
Yes, sir.
So you're up here for a number of reasons. One of them being, I have some questions mainly about Moorish science.
Yes, sir.
And so I gotta set it off this way.
Yeah.
Sinetta.
Ron's base.
Yo, you know what? Let me tell you. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna come back on this show. I like this.
The intensity.
Yeah. I like this.
So Sinetta, from what I saw online,
yes,
I don't know the inner workings and the personals and all of that.
Right.
What I saw online is that Sinetta is RBG.
Yes.
He's Black Power, Pan-Africanist.
Yes.
And he is adamant about the usage of the word black and Black Power in that whole programming.
Right.
And so he had an opportunity to educate the people on the differences in the use of the word black and how the Moors actually saw it. And he had an opportunity to get the people to fully understand why Moors don't want to use the word black. However, he turned it into a situation to where he's kind of like was attacking the Moors.
Oh, it wasn't a kinda, but go ahead.
So he was and I'm not biased. I'm just seeing it for what it is.
No doubt.
Now, he basically used his platform to subtly attack Moors, right?
For sure.
And he did it through other people. He would bring on his platform to debate with Moors, and whoever screamed the loudest got the most attention, because that's how as human beings are. The person who's yelling, that's the person they give the attention to.
That's right.
But typically Moors, from what I saw growing up in the movement, Moors are more laid back.
For sure. For sure. Now, what I'll say to that is this. One of my first criticisms, we're all family, and especially in the movement, you know, we can be constructively critical.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be less laid back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for starters, we need to be less laid back. You know what I'm saying? Prophet Noble Drew Ali said more is active and not passive.
Right.
Yeah, we need to be less laid back. You know what I mean? And so with Sonetta, I don't know if you're familiar with the debate that I had with their guy, Brother Reggie, back in 2016.
I skimmed through it because I already know the movement and I know the whole point of what the prophet brought.
For
And
sure.
I understand Brother Reggie and where their mind states from and all that.
RBG.
So for me, it wasn't nothing for me to watch because I already know, you know what I'm saying? Like that's how I am. Like I feel like if it's not of any
exactly
value, I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not there to look for entertainment. I'm there to look for that I didn't get maybe from the temple, or maybe I didn't get from the new Black Panther Party, or maybe I didn't get from the 5% Nation, or whatever organization I was a part of at a point.
But that debate, brother, if you get a chance to watch it, that debate, especially for the people who were there, because they were there, they saw it firsthand. That debate seriously damaged not only his platform, but the whole debate culture in New York City. That one debate did. That debate did a lot. We weren't looking at it. And again, you know, from being a member, shout out to Temple 54 in the Bronx, Grand Sheik, Brother D. Clark Hill. He's also the Grand Governor of the state of New York, right?
Right.
You know, from being in the temple, right, that, you know, if you do something, or if an individual does something that ticks me off or annoys me or irks me, the thing that's really irking me is something inside of me that connects to that thing. So my real fight ain't with him, it's with something inside of me. So you right. So that's the struggle. The struggle is always, wait a minute, you know, do I forget that for a moment and then I want to sock somebody up, right? Or do I remember it and I keep my cool and respond properly? Not react, but respond. You see what I'm saying? And so that was the fight. They came at us. They came at us with this debate thing. Like, yo, we want to debate one of your best, you know? And so we took it as an opportunity, one, to do what I was just mentioning, exercise our highest self. Two, present to that community and others using his platform an intelligent perspective on Prophet Drew Ali's movement. Win, lose, or draw, we didn't care.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
I gotta check that out. Right. So
like conveying information.
Yes, sir.
So now that we established, in our opinion, Sonetta used this platform to pretty much go at the Moors in a sense, right? Now it's passed, and we're here, and I just want to, you know, basically teach the people what Moorish science really is.
Come on, bro. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So let's talk about Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the myths and the what happened in reality. Exactly.
See, there's a lot of, as you know, being a member of the temple, you know, we spread a lot of Moorish myths too.
Yeah.
All right.
The problem.
So like I said, I like your show, bro. So listen, in addition to being a member of the organization, I'm also a member of a research team and think tank of Moorish Americans called Ali's Men.
Okay.
So there's there's the hat of the believer. I'm a member. I love the prophet. I love the organization. I believe the prophet. But then there's the hat of the researcher. And if I'm going to be a sincere and effective researcher, I have to be totally objective. Meaning, in my research, I might find things that contradict my belief.
Right.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And I got to be able to do it anyway. And I can't fall into the anti-scholarship thing of, well, I got an opinion and I'm just going to find stuff that agrees with my opinion. That's not scholarly.
Right.
Make it plain.
Yes, sir. So we have a research team that's kind of like a team of people that spar each other. So we vet each other's work. We present knowing that somebody's going to take shots at it. You see? And so we've been doing this for over 15 years. And so one of the things that I found is that the only times where our research or my research contradicted my belief was because my belief was wrong, not because Drew Ali was wrong. We had a misunderstanding about what he was trying to do, or what he was doing, or what he did do. We had a misunderstanding. Okay. Like, for instance, I give an example. Here's one of the biggest misunderstandings in the Moorish movement. Mm-hmm. When Drew Ali, during the first convention, draped the American flag around a young boy and the Moorish flag around a young girl, kissed them on the foreheads, and said, "I now declare you to be a nation inside of a nation." One of the biggest misconceptions. Everybody thinks not everybody, but a lot of people think the Moorish Science Temple of America is some separate government entity outside the United States.
Yeah, part and partial or part and parcel.
Yeah, right, all that stuff.
Playing with all that.
Playing with all the wordplay and taking it totally out of context. One of the things that I really love about the 5% Nation, specifically mathematics and alphabet, is that it taught us, whether we realized it or not, proper context.
Right.
For most of our people, context is a moving target.
It is.
You know what I mean? So they'll say, "Oh, it's not part and partial, it's part and parcel." And parcel is talking about land. No, read the whole sentence. It says, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and partial of the government. So, put parcel in there, of the government. It got nothing to do with land.
Right.
Nothing to do with land. It means that you favor the government you're a part of.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all it means. So anyway, back on the topic, right? Without context, see, Prophet Noble Drew Ali was doing what he was doing during a time period where you had a huge immigration wave of immigrants. In addition to that, you had the huge wave of our people, Asiatics, quote unquote, black people, moving from the south to the north.
Yeah.
All happening at the same time. And what was the big beef? Y'all remember the movie Gangs in New York?
Yeah, the 5 points and everything else. Yeah,
loved it.
There was nationalities involved.
Straight up and down. You hit it right on the nose. So what did you have? You had the immigrants, in this case the Irish, versus what they called the natives. In other words, second generation European Americans whose fathers were members of the original 13 colonies. They called themselves natives. Fast forward to the time of Drew Ali. You have President Woodrow Wilson saying the most dangerous American is the hyphenated American. Why? Because he was talking about the immigrant population and how they were trying to do this homogeneous American thing. Oh, we're just American. That's because the European proxy for Americanism already had the high ground.
Yep.
Get it? So it's like, now we're just American. So Prophet Drew Ali he was capitalizing off that energy when he said, and he was making one public address to all Americans. He said, basically he was saying he wants the assistance of all Americans, Europeans alike as well, to aid him in his work for our people. Then he said this. He said, if Germans, Turks, Arabians, English, Japanese, Chinese, etc., are forced to give their free national name and creed, the law should be enforced on all Americans alike. In other words, why aren't you enforcing this on the so-called Negro? Are you getting a benefit from not doing so? See that? He used it as leverage. And when he spoke about the nations of the earth, because, again, within that context, German Americans are a nation within a nation. Japanese Americans are a nation within a nation.
Right.
That makes sense. I get it.
I get it.
So it's a whole thing based on civics and, as they say, identifying nationality, and it goes. All right.
Yeah. So that's clear.
Yes. That's clear. In other words, the proclaiming and the answering up to the constitutional standard is not a legal thing, it's a social thing.
Right. Now, so this is a good way segue into the word black. Let's talk about that.
Yes, sir. Black.
All right.
So
Can you quote what the prophet said about Negro, black, and color, and then go into what he meant by that and your how you see it yourself?
Sure. So let's start, and this is dope. See, let's start with core American values. Prior to what we call the New World, let's take Old World. I use this analogy a lot. In Italy, country of Italy, old country, the social prerequisite to being an Italian citizen is what? Got to be Italian. Based on blood, based on ethnicity. See that? Okay. In the New World, the social qualification is what? You have to adopt the ideal that one nation can be formed made up of people from many different old world connections. E pluribus unum, out of many one.
Right.
Yep.
This is the constitutional standard. So what's the prerequisite? Got to be able to say where you came from. Got to have an old world connection.
Mm-hmm.
If you, that is your contribution to American society.
Exactly.
If you say black, if you say what have you just done?
You negated yourself, basically. There's no such thing as black.
Instead of being a descendant of a contributor to American society, you are now calling yourself or identified as a descendant of a product of American commerce.
Yeah.
And it's social. That's what makes it so powerful, because that makes it almost invisible. It's social, and that's how it gets institutionalized. The lawmakers, the people who participate in the law, in making the laws, regular citizens, institutions, organizations, they already have the stigma.
Right.
They already got the stigma, bro. They
exactly. So words are powerful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And do you know how powerful words are? Do you know of any do you have any information of how powerful words are, as far as like what you put out there in the universe? And
they call it spelling for a reason.
Right.
I was about to allude to that. I was going to allude to that.
Yeah.
So just like I think that the word nigga, right?
Yes.
Is like what anchors us to ignorance.
Yes.
And keeps us in darkness. You know.
Yes.
Because just like when you eat bad foods, right?
Absolutely.
Right. You're gonna eat bad food. You're gonna drink a bad drink. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna trickle down to everything else in your life. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty much like the same concept. If I'm using the word nigga, I'm gonna act like a nigga.
Yes.
I'm gonna technically, as a result, be a nigga.
Yo, I was just using this example last week with my members during Sunday school. I said, yo, we all grew up, with nicknames, giving people nicknames, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, yo, dude, on the playground, yo, your name is Pookie, right? Yeah. It's like, how many seconds lapsed from the time you named him Pookie for the time he acted like a Pookie?
Right.
Not long. It resonates. Words it's a frequency, as they say. They get into the whole concept of the whole etymology, the meaning. It defines your behavior. It resonates. Yeah.
It has a vibration to it.
It has a vibration.
Yes. It's like speaking to a glass of water.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. No, it is definitely programming. And like what you said about a glass of water and the fact that water is a programmable crystal, right? Yeah. Our bodies are majority water.
Yeah.
Majority water. You know what I mean? And so you all, this is deep, because you all are dealing with it at a level that, man, we're not paying attention.
Exactly.
We're not paying attention. That N-word is a curse.
It is.
It's a curse, brother. And we're looking at the results of it. When you see this sexy red, when you see, bro, we're getting the returns on our investment. Right. And it's not pretty.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's not pretty at all, bro.
All right. So let's say I'm going to play Pan-Africanist Ron. Black. I'm gonna use black, man. Black. My family's been using it for years. You know, you know, why can't I just call myself black? Or let me just. What about Tariq Nasir? He likes the name, FBA, Foundational Black American.
Yes.
He has the name American in the name in Foundational Black American, so that does tie us to the nationality, right? So why not use Foundational Black American?
I love the questions, bro. I love the questions. So let's take FBA or BIPOC or ADOS. First and foremost, you got to respect the fact in 2023, a growing number of us are realizing our real issue is not residual from slavery, but identity crisis. So the problem was already there back in 1913. See what I'm saying? So that's one. And then, but now let's look at those names: BIPOC, ADOS, FBA. They're still culturally ambiguous.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? They don't tie you or connect you back to world history. They only tie you to a former condition. We have as you know, brother, in our Moorish questionnaire, the Quran questionnaire, we say, how old is our flag? It is over 10,000 years old. Yeah. Now, why that's so deep? It's deep for a number of reasons, but here's the obvious one. We also say, for the sake of the United States of America, right? Slavery from 1779 lasted until 1865.
Yeah.
That's a blink. You see what I'm saying? That's a blink of time. How, if we got a flag that's over 10,000 years old, how are we being manipulated by an event that took place? You see what I'm saying? By this little small event. And that we've been conditioned to stake our whole basis of life on slavery. What? You see?
Negro, black, and color.
So I see what you're saying with that flag also, because it's basically just like as the Bible says in the lessons that we older than the sun, moon, and stars. We talk in terms of legally and civilized. You have no jurisdiction over me, as you said. That little blink of time.
You know
cover. I got you. I see what you're saying.
Right. It's like, there's the logic part, but a lot of times the most profound things are the most simplest things. So they fly over our head. We miss them. We miss them. We're still upset. We're upset. Many of us who claim to have this knowledge and information are still burned up and angry about slavery. And it's like, because we think that that's our origin. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So my origin, let's say I did some research. I'm just playing.
Yes, sir.
Ron the Pan-Africanist.
Yes, sir.
The Moors, they didn't do us right, man. They the ones that actually put us in slavery.
Right.
You saw the pictures with the Moors with the fez on the head, with the Europeans.
Right.
They enslaved us. The Moors enslaved us, and that's the reason why we here, brother.
I had a conversation.
Sarasetti's video. He has a video about that.
I had the conversation with Sarasetty. Matter of fact, the reason I was asked to do the debate with Reggie in 2016, they asked me in 2015, but the reason I was asked to do the debate was because 8 years prior, at the Sarasetty versus Khalil Bey debate, where all of it got really started, I asked 2 questions in the Q&A. If you pull that video up, you'll see it. I asked Sarnetta, I said, may I ask 2 questions? He said, sure. So I asked Sarasetty, I said, what is the title of this debate? He said, Dismantling the False Teachings of Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Science Temple of America. I said, okay, my second question is about Khalil Bey. Are you an official in the Moorish Science Temple of America? So they were very upset with me because I already knew what was going on. They paid Khalil Bey, I ain't afraid to say it, they paid him $2,000 to come up and to show up and lose. So the other thing is later, in a later time, we had a conversation with Sarasetty, and I was like, the pictures you showed, I said, brother, the time period in question was from 1442 up until the 16 and 1700s. Cameras didn't exist. The pictures you saw were of the Congolese force publique during the European occupation of the Congo. And it was a mixed group of people, of captured and subjugated Africans, some from Tanzania, some from the Congo, whatever, that they used as a police force for the subjugated inside the Congo. And only for 8 years was their uniform included fez. It was a uniform. It wasn't cultural. It's called the force publique. That's what they were called. See? Yeah. You know, and so here's the other part. Many people who are versed or knowledgeable, even, you know, have a degree in, let's say, Africana studies or African American studies. Cool. If you ask them, what was the document that began officially the transatlantic slave trade? Many of them are not even aware that there was an actual order, physical order, beginning it, kicking it off officially. They don't even know that. But it's not secret. It's not a secret at all. In 1442, well, first, I'll give you the background. 1441, a man named Tristão and a man named Goncalves, they were Portuguese. These guys were on the west coast of Africa and snatched up a group of Muslim, I think a sister and a couple of brothers, snatched them up off the coast and then bragged about it, right? And the word got back to Pope Eugene IV. Pope Eugene IV was elated, and he issued an order from the Vatican called Ilius Q.A. Pro Se Divini, a papal bull called Ilius Q.A. in 1442. And it authorized the Portuguese Order of Marian Christ. It was a military Christian order to begin raids on the west coast of Africa. And guess what he called it? He called it a new crusade against the Moors.
Got you.
That's what he called it. See what I'm saying? Now, of course, there's so many implications to what I just said. One of them being reparations. I don't want to say too much about it because we got some things cooking. You know, so, you don't want to let things out the bag prematurely. But let's just put it this way. Now you know whose name's got to be on the check.
I got you.
That was a bomb right there.
I got you.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's deep. No, it's you went deep.
Man, we could keep going on with that. However, I'm trying to get out as much as I can in this this one build. All right, so let's say things that I hear about the Moors.
Yes.
They're Masons. They're 10%ers, they're bloodsuckers, they hold secrets.
Right.
Yeah.
That's you asking great, these are great questions. So the whole Moors and Masons thing, and again, I'm gonna speak very, very frankly, right? We have a lesson, right, in another school of thought, right? What is the duty of a civilized person?
Civilize the uncivilized. And that's
Teach he who is savage, civilization, knowledge of himself, and science of everything in life. Love people. Come on, you're right. You all know it, right? And who are the 5% of the poor part of the planet Earth? Right? They're the poor righteous teachers. And I believe the teachers of 10% are all wise. Teach the true and living God is the son of man, supreme being, black man of Asia. Teach freedom, justice, and equality to all human families of the planet Earth. Otherwise known as civilized people, also Muslims and Muslims. Okay. Right? So it's not one organization that comprises the 5%. Right? The term 5, 10, and 85 is psychology and sociology. That's what it is. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. So the term 85 and 10% is psychology and sociology?
5, 10, and 85. Yes, sir. That's a breakdown. Like, for instance, you asked.
Oh, yeah, I get what you're saying. I got it.
Okay. Yes, sir. Right. So
you know what? Break it down just because, 5%
doubt.
is going to be listening to this.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Break down
You
what
know,
you're saying.
if you study psychology or speak to a psychologist, right? For instance, let's say a psychologist, psychiatrist, and you ask about hypnotism, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll tell you 5% of the population can hypnotize themselves, or 15%, 5 to 15% are actually capable of doing that. Self-hypnosis. The masses, not so much. See that? Right. So
it's
now,
based on capacity.
In any profession, you have people like you got a lot of people that play basketball, but you only got a few pros.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You only
Or
got
mathematics.
Right. In any endeavor where social endeavor where people come together, you'll roughly have 5, 10, 85. Right? So back on the whole thing about Freemasonry. Freemasonry is an institution. Well, it depends on what you mean by Freemasonry. Do we mean Freemasonry, the fraternal organization? Do we mean Freemasonry, the body of knowledge? Do we mean Freemasonry, old world culture?
Well, what I mean is just Masonry in general, like the fraternal order.
Okay.
You have Moorish. Does Moorish Science implement Masonry culture or lessons, Masonic lessons in culture?
Absolutely. And there's going to be some people that get upset with me. I don't care. Absolutely. If any any member of the fraternity called Freemasonry, if they read chapter 5 of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, if they read chapter 1, they're going to be like, oh. First of all, they read chapter 1. If they know what they're reading, they're like, man, this Blue Lodge. If they read chapter 17, a few of the instructions in chapter 17 where it says, herein is the chemistry of mortal life, the ministry of death, the mystery of deific life. That's Blue Lodge.
It is.
It's Blue Lodge.
Well, the 5% question and answers in 120.
Yes,
that's like a catechism.
Actual fact. We have our questionnaire, the Quran questionnaire, the 101s. Right. Yep. You know, chapter 5, Jesus is on a ladder, a 12-step ladder with a compass, square, and an axe. What you building with a compass, square, and an axe?
Right.
And then says, these tools remind me of the tools we handle in the workshop of the mind, where things are made of thought and we build up character.
Right.
Come on. Right. See, what the prophet did for us is this. Page 3 of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America says these secret lessons, right? Right? What he did is that he's also reported to have said, I took the covers off all the secret organizations. Does that mean he was a whistleblower? No. It means what he did is Freemasonry, as we know it as the institution and the fraternity, is a receptacle and a repository of old world Moorish culture. Flat out. The esoteric organizations, there's a European by the name of James Wasserman. He wrote a book called The Templars and the Assassins. The occult organizations, the Western occult and esoteric revival, say this openly. They say the revival happened as a result of, during the Crusades, Asiatic Muslims secretly passing information to European Templars.
Yes, they did. The fact.
What it is. So what we practice, what they had to practice it in secret because first and foremost, we were being persecuted for doing it when we were still ruling Spain, but we were on our way out. Our culture was demonized. Our culture was demonized. That's what the Spanish Inquisition was all about. It was, oh, you know something about herbal tea? You out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, you know something about them stars? You out of here. Anything.
Even what you're doing right now is he's do garden right now, but let's just leave it at
that. So they outlawed our very way of thinking. It was to erase a narrative, to erase a way of thinking. Matter of fact, this one European said it this way in the book Mysteries of the Mexican Pyramids when he talked about the Spanish Inquisition. He said it was first to get money for the crown and the Vatican. Two, at the same time, rid them of their greatest enemies. And they said those enemies were anyone who learned mathematics, religion, medicine, geography, astronomy in the Moorish universities such as Cordova and Seville, whose libraries were already burned.
So basically the liberal arts, the 7 liberal arts, basically.
Straight up and down, bro. You knew them, you gone. Because that was the only way that they had to get rid of that or suppress that so that their idea could come up and they could rule the world for the first time in history. Now, what do we have today? The remnants of it, our own people talking about, man, that all-seeing eye, that's the devil. And that 5-pointer star, that's Baphomet. That's Inquisitionist talk. That's Inquisitionist talk. So when you got even our people who identify as Moorish Americans saying, oh, Freemasonry, that's Inquisitionist talk. You don't even recognize your own culture. What our prophet did for us is we now practice it as part of our religious expression. We could do it in the open.
In the open. In the open. Not in secret. In the open.
We're the difference. Watch, I'm going to show you something, brother. And this is something that a lot of people don't know. Follow me. Those of us, and I'm going to say us, in the craft, right? We know, okay, that, brothers are called, sons of a widow. All right. Any Masonic researcher worth their salt knows that the craft borrowed that phrase. Because if you read 2 Kings, HARLEM Abiff finished his work and went back home. He wasn't killed. That's part of the Masonic legend. So now, so if he wasn't killed, where do we get the term son of a widow from? You know what all the Masonic researchers, European ones especially, say? The craft, the institution, Freemasonry, borrowed it from Ruth the Moabitess. Borrowed it. Now, let's go into the Masonic legend. I mean, this is stuff you can get on the internet, so I ain't blowing any secrets or anything, right? HARLEM Abiff was one of 3 masters, right, who had the secret word, that allowed him to cross the River Jordan to get building materials for the King Solomon's Temple. They caught HARLEM Abiff, the 3 ruffians, the bad guys, caught him during noon by himself inside the temple, unfinished temple. They beat him, of course, hit him, killed him, buried him in a trash heap in the northwest corner of the temple. Brother already knows where I'm going with this. In the Quran questionnaire, right? What is the nationality of Ruth? Ruth was a Moabitess. What is the modern name for Moabites? Moroccans. Where is the Moroccan Empire? Northwest of Mexico. Who's really HARLEM Abiff?
And the ruffians, it's slave. You already know the translation.
Already know, bro.
I like that shirt you got on there right there.
That's tough, man.
Tough.
Shout out to one of my brothers and one of my comrades in Ali's men, brother Nazir. This is his company, Scimitar. That's the name of the company.
SP.
I like that.
Scimitar USA. Scimitar USA. Yes, sir.
Now I'm gonna go over this video because we gotta come back and talk about what you spoke about already, because I just want to clear some stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Muslim and Muslim. What are the differences?
There'll be some people that get upset with me about this one too, right? The Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, this is an intelligent organization and members should represent it with the highest of intelligence, right? The Arab, first, let's just start with this. Both words, let's presume for argument's sake that both words are 2 different words. One thing we all can agree on is that both of them are Arabic words. All right. So the fact that both of them are Arabic words, right? And if you know anything about the Aramaic language is written, the vowels are left out, right? So the most Aramaic words have 3-letter roots. So the root of both of those words is sin, lam, and meme. SLM. The phrase or the root means wholeness, oneness, completeness. That's what it means. And so a number of words come out of that root. Muslim, Salam, Islam, all three
Mm.
have the same root. Now, as it comes to vowels, the vowels can be interchanged phonetically as long as they sound similar or close. M-O-S-L-E-M, M-U-S-L-I-M, whatever. It's the same word. Now, you have some people that will say, well, Prophet Noble Ali said Muslim and not Muslim, and a Muslim is one who submits to the will of Allah, and a Muslim is one who is the will of Allah. Okay, show me proof.
Right. So so a Muslim is a scientist and a Muslim submits to the will of Allah.
It just sounds good. See, again, what are you talking about? The people that for 500 years have had no real power. So any little thing, man, come on, we blow a story up. You know how we do.
Yeah.
We want to feel powerful, so we take it and run, man. Muslim means that. Look, it's if you want real power, it's you got to have your feet on the floor, on the ground. You get in front of any and think about what we just went over. The average European or the average linguist is going to go, they're not even going to tell you sound like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to tell you. They're just going to go, that's interesting, and walk off and write everybody off.
Yeah.
That whole Moorish movement is crazy. Those guys are crazy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I know that we revere people that study this or have knowledge. They revere Noble Drew Ali, right? I know it may be controversial. How do they feel about CM Bey? Because I think one was teaching civics, one was going more with science.
Brother, let me tell you, human weakness, right? And I have to preface it with that.
Yeah.
Many of us in the movement don't understand. We just been introduced to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We don't understand his mission. I'm a part of a research team, and it's a whole bunch of us, and we're still learning.
Okay.
Ain't no different with CM Bey. I'm gonna give you an example. CM Bey in Clock of Destiny, I can't remember if it's 1 or 2.
Yeah, Clock of Destiny. Yeah.
Right. He said this. He said, if it wasn't for the strenuous and unreasonable religious dogma of the Muslims, there certainly would not be the rise of the order of Christ.
And that's
you know how we took that when we first heard it. Oh, Christianity came out of Islam. Wrong context. You know what he was talking about? A period in history that I just mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
The Reconquista, we control, and this is undisputed world history. Europe was brought out of the Dark Ages and was ran for nearly 800 years by an African power. They just don't like saying what the African power was. It was a multinational, we would say multinational today, or multi-tribal African diasporic political entity called the Islamic Empire, also called the what? Moroccan Empire. So bottom line is that Europe was ruled by Africans for nearly 800 years. Now, the Europeans fought for nearly 500 years to get it back. It's called in history the Reconquista. So at a particular point in time, how did the Reconquista gain steam? We started fighting each other.
Yeah.
That's what happened. We started fighting each other, and the empire broke up into segments that they call taifas, and we fighting with each other. The Reconquista gains momentum. Where it really gained momentum was in 1442, when that papal bull was signed, and then a number of other papal bulls were signed, which comprised doctrine of discovery. So that particular papal bull in 1442, Ilias Qa, right? It gets signed. The military order was called the Order of Christ. That's what CM Bey was talking about. Most of us don't have historical context to know.
Yeah, that's a fact.
This is deep. This is real dope. Now let's segue. Now that you went into CM Bey, let's talk about the different factions of the Moorish movement. So you have C. Kirkman Bey,
yes,
side, so to speak.
Yes.
And then you have the Emily Ill side, so to speak.
Yes.
And then you have other factions that came up, I think, out of California.
You got
the Patriot Group.
Yeah, you definitely have that stuff. That's that stuff. That was more of a bad ghost in the machine, so to speak. You know, the whole sovereign citizen movement.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. I mean, I was listen. I was a part of all that foolery. That's the thing. I really was. You know, if there's people in the movement that have a beef with me, the majority of them have a beef with me because of that, because I don't support that stuff anymore. And I was one of the people they were following in the late 90s.
Does it really work though? That's the question I want to know. All that paperwork stuff, like it's
absolutely nothing.
I know it don't. I just wanted to know because I'm like, I have yet to see it work because all I see is they get slammed on their head on videos.
But here's the deep part for us. Think about it. You're talking about we say that, you know, a prophet of Allah. A prophet of Allah himself comes to save our people just so you could drive around without a piece of plastic in your pocket.
Well, you know,
right. You see what I'm saying? Are you kidding? So you don't have to pay child support?
Happened to me one day when I was on it like that. I got a card from 54, and you know nobody can tell me nothing now.
Right.
So now I got that in my pocket. I get pulled over by the police. I'm riding my bike on the sidewalk, so they wanted to give me some trouble, whatever. So it's like, "Where's your ID?" I pulled the ID out, Moorish ID.
Yes.
I didn't pull out my government.
Oh man.
So guess what happened?
What happened?
So they put me in the back of the car. But now check this out. Now I'm in the precinct now. I'm locked up.
Right.
Somebody out of nowhere comes out of nowhere.
You've been kidnapped, as they say.
Says to me, "Who's your grand Sheik?"
Ooh,
wow.
I'm like, "Clark Ill," and he's like, "Get out of here, man." He said, "That's my grand Sheik." And he was a sergeant in the precinct, and I got him out of there. So that yay.
They worked on that.
But let me share. See, that's on the other. Now, watch this. Watch this. Right? Prophet Noble Drew Ali said this. His reporter just said the nationality card is going to change when you write in your pocket. Now, of course, there ain't nothing spooky about that. What we mean is this: power changes as the ethers change, conditions change. The reason the organization was so powerful during the time of Prophet Drew Ali is because of the work he did serving humanity. When you serve people, we know, come on, if we were ever in the streets or familiar with the streets, familiar with gangbanging or whatever, come on, that's how we recruited.
Yeah.
Right? You serve people. So the organization did so much service, you now have influence. That's power. Power is influence. You see what I'm saying? For instance, my Kung Fu style is called the Hong Ga style. The Hong Ga style, the origin, remember back in the old Kung Fu movies where Shaolin Temple got burned, the rebels were hiding out in Shaolin and the government burned it down and the rebels escaped and they had hand signs and all this. Oh, that's the origin of my style for real. It literally happened, right? So that is also the origin of the Chinese mafia. What makes them powerful? They got people in every area of human activity. They have influence.
That makes sense. I got
That's
you.
what saved you, brother.
That's what saved me.
So it wasn't the card.
Right. Come on, bro. The card was just a demonstration. The card is just indicative of your membership. That's the significant thing.
Right. But
the card is a receipt.
The service.
Yes.
Basically gives the influence, you know.
Yeah.
All right. So a lot of these Moors is quote unquote Moors or sovereign citizens are bogus online. I'm telling you, they selling packages online, and I don't know how people fall for it. If you buy this package from me, it's $5,000. It'll open up an account for you for $100,000, and you go down there.
Let me tell you all.
Out though.
Let me tell you where all that came from. Came from a European man by the name of Roger Elvick in the Midwest. He was doing that, and when his own people started realizing there was water in the milk, he started marketing to our people. That's where
we bought into that
heavy, bro. But it's easy for us to buy into it because socially we already are disenfranchised. So it's easy for somebody to say you're not a citizen. It's easy. Right. It's easy. You see what I'm saying? It's easy, man. Yeah.
I gotta see it one day. I gotta see it work one day. That's all I want to see. Somebody make it show improve.
Brother, here's the worst thing. See,
Mhm.
back in the 90s when we were doing that stuff, 91, 92, 93, we was heavy with it. We took, at that time period, we took the court system and the law enforcement agencies by surprise. So they erred on the side of caution with us until we started getting a little too crazy. So guess what would happen? We'd say X, Y, and Z to a judge. The judge would be like, hey, I really don't know what to say about this. Take his robe off. All those stories, that was us back in those days. So we were like, this stuff works. That's the worst thing in the world that could have happened. We thought it worked.
That's called paper terrorism.
But think about what we call work, bro. You get pulled into you get arrested in a criminal case or criminal situation. What's the win? I don't go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
That's the win. We said, oh, it works because I didn't go to jail. Didn't work. Did you change the system? No. Did you change laws? No. Did you change the social fabric? No. Can
So
what I do
let's
benefit you? Absolutely not.
Let's go back into C. Kirkman Bey and Millie.
Yes, sir.
What is so? What I saw, like, because I also studied under Hakeem Bey.
It's my guy.
What happened to Hakeem Bey?
Got fed up, man. Got fed up. I ain't talked to him in a while, but yeah.
He opened up a temple in Harlem.
Yes, he did.
I was a recorder, a secretary, right?
Oh, okay. That was on the Braswell Bay.
Yeah,
I remember.
and he had so many haters. I couldn't believe it to do something this so positive.
Look at it like this, brother. And I'm shout out to my brother T. Berry Bey. He's a Mufti lieutenant in the organization. He's the chairman of my temple. He said it like this: you get knocked out, you're a boxer in the ring, you get knocked out in the red corner, you don't get up in the blue corner. You get knocked out right where you get up right where you got knocked out at. So we fell not because we lost the knowledge of ourselves. We fell knowing full well who we were. We fell because we stopped treating each other right.
Yeah.
We fell because exactly get it. So here it is, 500 some odd years later. We back. We back with the same foolery that we had back then.
You don't get it.
Right. It ain't knowledge that's going to do it unless it's knowledge of our foolery and what we need to fix. It's not knowledge of the stars. It's can Brother Ron and Brother Mikey, can they trust me with their children?
Oh, Dr. York. Anyway.
You see what I'm saying?
That is key. Like, yo.
Yeah, that's what happened. To add on to what you said, something about that C.M. Bey said, you mentioned, I can't quote verbatim, that water risen. They also talk about subduing your passions.
Yes.
A lot of people, they don't go into that, y'all call it a depth chamber, but as y'all go into that chamber to go reflect on yourself, to work on their demons, they don't do that.
Brother, Mikey, yo, bro, listen. I know you're familiar with Manly P. Hole.
Yeah.
He wrote this one book where he's talking about the craft, Freemasonry. Yeah. And he's like, listen, you got 32nd and 33rd third degree Freemasons that, as it relates to the real work, which is their life, never made it past EA.
Yeah, never. Yeah, it's just like the 5% nation. You got 5%ers that act like 85ers. Even if you got profanes that act worse than EAs.
You got sheiks and divine ministers in the Moorish Science Temple of America that just gave up the name Negro, Black, and Color. They didn't give up the principles.
Exactly.
Well, that leads me to say this, right?
Yes, sir.
It's just hard. I'm because I'll be honest with you. If you grow up like in the projects, in the hood, and all of that, it's kind of hard to break that conditioning. You know, as much as you try and you try and you kind of past it,
Yes.
for the most part, but it's just that little bit is so big in your mind. You know what I'm saying? And I think what keeps us in that state of mind is I personally think it's I think it's hip hop.
Brother, I'm a hip hop baby. You know what I'm saying?
Hip-hop head.
Yeah. Now I'm glad you brought that up, but I want to touch on something real quick, and I want to jump back on the whole hip hop thing. First and foremost, what you said is so deep. What you said about, listen, matter of fact, I'll quote out of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Right? Jesus begins his divine ministry. What's the first thing he does? 40 days in the wilderness. But now let's contextualize it. The man grew up in these teachings, spent 13 years in India and another 5 in a temple in Heliopolis, Egypt. Then does 40 days in the wilderness, and the first thing he says is what? My lower self is strong. By many ties, I'm bound down to carnal life. In other words, man, this is a process.
You gotta work on yourself. Yeah.
You gotta work on yourself. It's a process, right?
You can't do it alone.
You can't do it alone, brother. Now you know why Act 7 in the Divine Constitution and Bylaws is there. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part. It's a community effort, bro.
Yeah.
Which goes right back to nationality being sociology. You have to come together, but you come just like gangbanging. You come together on a single set of principles. That's what binds us together.
Yeah.
And the principles are above us all. Ain't nobody above the principles.
Exactly.
In the craft, they call it the perfect ashlar.
Yeah. You gotta work on that.
Yes.
And you know what I'm saying? You gotta go through the steps. You gotta work on it.
Right. You see? And it's so important. And like you said, bro, it's a process. And every day we go, wow, praise Allah. I was able to open my eyes and I have another chance to get it right. You see what I'm saying? And I don't forget that just because I got a fez and a turban and a pin on my lapel and a nationality card, that I'm just one situation away. Just one. All it takes is the right person to catch me at the right time, and I'm right back in the Negro state.
Exactly.
Full blown.